So hip fractures are a big problem, okay? What I was saying is that a lot of times when you have a broken bone, this is in an interview with Dr. Khan, you're gone in less than 2 years. He says less than 6 months, right? And some of you guys have seen that, maybe a friend or a loved one who has fallen, broken an arm or a hip or a leg, and a lot of times they're gone, they pass away within 2 years. Sure, yes ma'am. So what we want to do is we want to make sure we can stand on one foot for at least 10 seconds, right? You guys have heard me pound this dead horse. If you can stand on one foot for 10 seconds, your likelihood of living a longer, more fruitful, and more active life is very high. The British Journal of Sports Medicine found that if you cannot stand on one foot for more than 10 seconds, your life longevity is about 10 years, right? They're saying, good news is we can improve that, and it starts today. Let me run down some statistics. One of the most serious fall injuries is a broken hip. It's hard to recover from a hip fracture, and afterward, many people are not able to live on their own. Each year, over 300,000 older people, those 65 and older, are hospitalized for hip fractures. More than 95% of hip fractures, 95%, are caused by falling, usually falling sideways. Women experience 3/4 of all hip fractures. Women fall more often than men, and women more often have osteoporosis, a disease that weakens the bones and makes them more likely to break, right? All this information is coming from the CDC. We want to do exercises, guys, load-bearing exercises that are going to help improve the strength of our bones. There's only 2 non-load-bearing exercises that exist. Does anybody know what they are? Non-load-bearing. Swimming and cycling. And that's not to say that these are bad. These are very good exercises that you should do, right? If you enjoy swimming, keep doing it. If you enjoy riding your bike, continue to do it. But what we're going to do in here is considered load-bearing exercise. It's going to help strengthen our bones, all right? Really quickly.
I can't ride a bike anymore.
Yeah, yes ma'am. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. A hip fracture is a partial or complete break from the femur where it meets the pelvic bone. A serious injury requires medical attention. Of course, we all know that. And major hip fractures happen to a lot of people over 60, a greater chance of death. About 20% of patients die within a year after they have a hip fracture. Challenging recovery, an estimated 1 in 4 patients fully recover after a hip fracture, and it's a long hospital stay. And the longer you stay in the hospital, guys, the higher percentage chance you are to fall. We've talked about that at extent, right? So you're looking at 1 to 2 week average, then you're maybe going into inpatient rehab and a potential loss of independence and quality of life and depression. We've talked about depression in falls too. So what creates this environment? It's a diminished estrogen production. Guys have estrogen too in our bodies. A diminished estrogen production makes postmenopausal women more susceptible to osteoporosis and hip fractures. So women make up up to 70% of all hip fractures, right guys? And that is coming from, that's not the CDC, this is Johns Hopkins, all right? Yeah. So good information. Here's the good news, right? How do you get vitamin D, right? You go out in the sun, you walk. Do not discount the power of walking, all right? I have preached that for the last 20 years. Just go walk. A lot of people have these fantastical ideas of exercise being in a weight room lifting a bunch of weights. That's not exercise. Walking is exercise, all right?